Hello. How are we doing? Dr. Miriam Sekandi here in the break free zone. And my job is very simple. I help you to see the blind spots that seem to keep you away from becoming a legendary, transcendent parent. So, a lot of parents are actually finding parenting very, very stressful and overwhelming, and they're unable to enjoy the experience because of one big thing: fear. And right now, I'm going to talk to you about fear. And when you find yourself afraid, you end up saying no. So I'm going to go through three things that you need to think about before you say no to your child. Because a lot of parents say no to children's requests because they're afraid. And let's get into it. So when your child asks for something, before you say no, because remember, you have years of experience that are responsible for your no. So maybe there is something that you've seen in the past that is not good, that comes out of something that they're asking, and you just say no. Or you just don't want to be disturbed. So many parents don't want to be disturbed. They don't want to be bothered. And because they know that if they say yes, then it is more work on them. It is the expectation is more for them. So they say no. They're like, no, I'm not about to deal with this. I'm done. I am not dealing with this. So they say no, right? Now, before you say no, here is the thing. When your child asks, ask for that moment and say, and I get it. Sometimes they are like little pests. They're like, tell me, I want this, or I want to go here. And they seem like they don't have patience, but you can train them. You can train your children that when you ask, you have to give me a moment to process what you're asking me. If you train them that way, then there's less hell that they are giving you. But if you don't train them, what ends up happening is they pester you, and pester you until you say something or you snap. But if you train them and say, hey, when you ask me for something, give me a moment so that I can process what you're saying. Now, before you say no, ask yourself, what am I saying no to? And why am I saying no? Because many times we just say no, but our no could mean different things. For example, if a child asks you to go on a sleepover, they want to go on a sleepover, and you just say no. You can't, or can I have that? They see something in the store and you say no. Or they say, I want to go play with so-and-so. You say no. Now you're using the word no, but that no means different things in those different situations. It might be a no because the circumstances or the timing or you agreeing to them doing something requires you. For example, if they want to go play in the park, if to go play in the park might require you to also go with them to play in the park. And that might not be possible in your schedule, depending on what's going on. So when you just say no, and then they throw a tantrum, or they are upset, or they bang the door, they slam the door and so on, it's because you've not been very clear on why you are saying no. And again, a lot of this is training. How do you train them? How do you train them before you say no? Right? And children are trained. Like, you can get them used to, hey, if you're asking me, I'll give you an example. I've trained my kids to, when they ask, right now they are older, so it's a little different than if you're dealing with little kids. But when they ask for something, or they know that they will require something, for example, I share my car with my daughter, my oldest, and so if she has plans with her friends, she does not just walk up to me and say, can I go? She will let me know in advance that she has plans of going somewhere, so that if I need the car that day, I also plan accordingly. But if she came up to me randomly and said, can I have the car right now? It's going to be a very complex situation, but now we are both used to each other. So she knows mainly when I use the car, and I kind of have an idea when she needs the car. So I do whatever I need to do in my time. Anything that's going to fall out of that time, there is communication that happens. And communication is a very key thing. It doesn't start when they're older. Even when they are littler, we train them to communicate. You train them to say, if they want to go to the park, and it could be you scheduling them and saying, hey, this afternoon after we eat lunch and have a nap, we can go to the park. You can use it as an incentive. But if you do nothing and the kid wants to go to the park, they are going to come at you and they'll be like, can I go to the park? Can I go to the park? Can I go to the park? Until you feel like, you want to pull out your hair and throw in the towel and run. But if you schedule it in, it's about communication. If you schedule it in, the age doesn't matter. And this is the mistake that a lot of parents do. They think that because when kids are smaller, they can just bulldoze them into whatever they want. No, when they are smaller, you can still train them. You train them on how to communicate, not just for your convenience, but for them to learn how to communicate in future with others. That's a skill that they can use with a partner. That's a skill they can use with a boss. That's a skill they can use with workmates and other family members, informing somebody in advance of something that's going to happen. I'm guilty of sometimes forgetting to let my kids know if plans change. And they quickly remind me that, hey, you needed to let us know in advance so that we are not like having to shift our plans, because it affects everybody when you do not communicate in advance. So helping to communicate with your kids, planning out your day with them can go, especially with the littler ones, planning out your day with them can go a long way. And it is going to reduce the no's that you say. I think there is a study that says a child hears the word no, I don't know, what do they say, 500,000 times in a day or something? Like in a day alone, the number of no's that the children hear. And then you wonder why when they get a little older, the only word they know is no. You ask them to do something, they say no, 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 because they are echoing you. That's what they had. They never had the negotiation. They never had the use of other words. So before you say no, number one, you need to find out, why am I saying no? Why am I saying no? Why are you saying no? And what are you saying no to? Because it's not just I'm saying no to you going to the park. There is a reason why you're saying no to going to the park. There is a very big reason. It could be saying no to me expending my energy in that way. No to me spending my time that way. So then no does not necessarily mean the same thing each time, right? So think about what you're saying no to. Are you saying no, are you saying no to engagement with your child? Are you saying no to exercise? Are you saying no to, what are you saying no to? Are you saying no to connection? So don't just throw out a no that is unthought of, because it is the first thing that comes out of your mind when your child seems to get on your nerves with their ask. Look, tell them, ask them for time. Give me a moment. Mommy needs to think about what you're asking. And weigh, if I'm to say no, what am I saying no to? If I'm to say yes, what am I saying yes to? Because your yes again is going to mean you're saying yes to exercise, yes to spending time with this child, yes to to using my time in this way, yes to a connection, yes to this, yes to fresh air, yes to whatever yes is to. So when you say no, think about that. The second thing that you need to think about when you say no to your child is what's coming up for you. When you say no, what's your big fear? What are you afraid of? If a child asks to go to a sleepover and you say no, what is the underlying fear that you have? Because many of us have fears that we have carried with us into our parenting. And so we parent from a place of fear. And because of that, every time we get an opportunity, we say no. But we are saying no because of our own fears. And our children are not aware of those fears. But here we are saying no. So think, when you say no, what's coming up for you? What's coming up for you when you say no in terms of fear? But this requires you to go back, because it could be a fear of yourself at that age. It could be you just echoing your mom, because your mom used to say no in this situation, so you say no. Very easy, because like we have said, children usually will echo their parents. You're your parent's child. And if your parent already said no to these situations, you are going to say no as well. Right? So think about what is coming up for you, what fear, because if you're saying no out of fear, you need to ask, what fear is underlying my no? What am I actually saying here? And take that fear, and you have to work on it. This is the self-work that gets to happen, right? The fear that comes up, how do you resolve it? Because if you parent your child out of fear, if you keep projecting your fears onto your child, I'll give you a very simple example. I grew up in the war, right? I grew up during the war, in the 1970s in Uganda. There were so many wars going around and so much insecurity. To this day, there is insecurity there. But, I sometimes one of my kids loves to travel, and I will project my fear of the war on her. Like recently, she had to travel to Korea, and with the wars going down and the plane, I don't know, Singapore Airlines or whatever, I was scared for her. I didn't even tell her about the Singapore Air. Thank God she didn't hear about it. But the fear, for me when she travels is she going to be safe? I've heard of human trafficking. It's my fear that and she always says, you're projecting your fears on me, and I have to hold myself back because I know that it's my fear. It doesn't mean it's going to happen for the child. So when you say no, what are you actually saying no to? Right? What fear is coming up for you that is unaddressed? And then you have to go ahead and address that fear, because that is your fear, not your child's fear. Your child is asking out of no fear. But if you feel a fear is coming up for you, time to address it. The third thing that you need to think about when saying no is, what is my child actually craving for from the ask? When they ask, what actually do they want? Are they looking for your attention? Are they craving connection? Are they craving company? Are they are they hungry? What is the actual underlying craving for the child that needs to be filled? So before you say no, you have to think, what is my child craving from that experience? Are they craving exercise? Are they craving stimulation? Do they want to burn off steam? That's why they want to go to the park. Are they craving more connection, more time with their friend? That is why they want a sleepover. Is there maybe a show they want to watch with their friend that you always say no to? And they know that if they go to so-and-so's place, they'll be able to see that. So find out when you say no, what experience are you denying your child that they are craving? And then the next question is or an additional question to that, because there's 3. How can I help my child meet that need? So if my child is craving attention, how can I provide more attention? A lot of parents will not give their children attention. And when I talk attention, is spending time with them and actually connecting with them so that they feel like they are the center of your mind. They feel like they're the center of your universe. If they don't feel that, you will be in situations in public, because you don't give them the attention in private, and then you go to public, and then they see your attention going off, and they are like, yep, this is the moment. The next thing, they're on the floor in the aisle in the store and losing it. And guess what? They've realized that when they do that, you give them attention. Unfortunately, for some parents, is when they finally give children the attention in those situations, when the children are throwing a tantrum, they do it with, they'll punish them, for example, they'll smack them or whatever, which is really not helping the situation, because you are not solving what the issue is. If your child is craving your attention and then you beat them, yes, you've given them the attention, but your attention is causing trauma. So you need to think about that. Before you say no, think about those three things. Number one is, what am I saying no to? And why am I saying no? What are you saying no to? And I'm not just saying because your kid asked for a sleepover, you're saying no to a sleepover. No. What are you actually saying no to? Think about it. And why are you saying no? Do you have a genuine reason? Because many times we just don't want to be bothered. We are tired. We are exhausted, and we just say, no, 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 no. Don't even go play. Find something to do in your room. What did you just say no to? What is coming up for you in terms of fear that you are refusing to address, or that you are not addressing, not refusing? You are just not addressing. It's a fear that you have that you are not addressing. If your child wants to go play at the neighbors and you say no, because underneath you have a fear, what are you actually afraid of? Is that what you're addressing when you say no? Or are you just saying no to cover up a fear? And the third thing is, what is my child craving from the experience that they are requesting for, they ask? And how can I help to meet that need? If they are craving attention, how else can you provide them with attention? Because children will always get the attention. If you do not give them attention during the day, they will demand it from you. Be it at bedtime, be it in public, in the store, they will take it out of you. It's one of their buckets that they have to fill. At the end of the day, kids like their attention. Everybody does. Everybody does. We just get our attention differently. And also, we have other things that through experience will take our attention. But for the child, you are the only center of their world. So they will get the attention from you if they can't get it from friends. If they are older and they have friends, they'll get the attention from friends. And sometimes you might not be happy with that either. So think about this next time you say no. What exactly are you saying no to, and why are you saying no? What are your fears that come up that cause you to say no? And what is my child craving from the experience? And how else, if I'm going to say no to their ask, how else can I meet their craving? How else can I meet their need? So I wish you well the next time you say no, but say no with a reason. Bye for now. Thank you for coming.